Hello, my name is Holly North. My Dharma name is Wan Ja Yu. A quick disclaimer before I give my talk, I no longer have COVID. I did something that I have never done before. I watched fireworks alone on the 4th of July from a lounge chair in my backyard. My family went downtown to see the fireworks put on by the city, while I was on a COVID solitude retreat. It was a different tone than the usual festivities. Instead of chasing kids around and hosting neighborhood friends, there was nothing I had to do. Feeling a little lonely, missing out on the fireworks with my family, I decided to embrace the chance of having a moment to myself. It was peaceful laying under the night sky, watching a random firework go off here and there. In fact, I enjoyed being able to rest and tune into the chorus of crickets in the trees. My life is pretty busy, taking care of a family and other obligations. When I discovered I had COVID, I was faced with many uncertainties. My mind began to race, thinking of all of the things that this positive result could affect. I had to contact everyone I had been around and all of the people I was planning to be around soon. It made me think of our interconnected nature and how one thing affects another. I closed myself off from my family and went into isolation in our bedroom. The word isolation sounded daunting to me. Once I knew I had to close myself off from the world, I decided to call it a retreat. I had many tools in my toolbox for living in retreat mode. When the world shut down in 2020, I participated in a 4-day virtual retreat with Reverend Wang Gong through the Southern Dharma Center. I have attended numerous retreats offered by the temple, both at home and in person. I knew what to do to treat this time as a retreat. Here was my chance to tidy my room. On the first day of retreat, I was too sick to get out of bed. By the second day, I was able to do decluttering meditation as Wang Gong had taught us. The act of decluttering changes when viewing it as a meditation compared to an unwanted task. As I went through old files and tossed out the unnecessary ones, I felt like a snake shedding its skin. Buddha once said, "Just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again." I discarded clothes from my closet, books that I would never read again, and some more difficult sentimental gifts from loved ones. As my room began to transform, I began to transform with it. When I tired of being in the room, I would practice walking meditation the way we had done on the virtual retreat. I wore my mask to go outside. Once outside, I slowly circled the garden, paying close attention to each step I was taking. I noticed things like butterflies dancing in the garden or a hummingbird whizzing by. The peace and pace of each step was slow and calculated. The rhythm of my heart matched this pace. I had time to really focus on each step, one after the other, connecting my feet with the earth. By the third day, I was well enough to sit under a canopy outside and paint. I had time to finish 2 paintings I had been trying to get done. When it was too hot to be outside, I would move back inside to my bedroom apartment. There I passed the time reading, writing, studying Dharma, and practicing sitting meditation. I have heard COVID called a forced time out. That is exactly what it was for me. A break from daily life. I was lucky that my husband cooked and took care of the household while I was out of commission. I mindfully ate the meals delivered to my door. It felt like a privilege to be able to spend time alone doing retreat-type activities. Although I would prefer not to have COVID again, I appreciated the chance to reflect inward. Since then, my life has gotten as busy as ever. I hope to find more time for retreat, but hopefully this time without COVID. I'd like to read you a quote from the scripture that I found in my journal after writing this Dharma talk. I opened my journal right to a page labeled Retreat. I remember learning this scripture with our group and discussing it, and I think the together discussion made it really stick in my mind. Here's the quote. Regardless of who it is, if one understands and practices the principle that illuminates the one mind by penetrating the myriad dharmas, then one will certainly attain great, perfect, right enlightenment. I looked up the words illuminate and penetrating. Illuminate means make something visible or bright by shining light on it. Penetrating means able to make a way through into something. In my journal, I wrote a small prayer. I'd like to share it with you now as a prayer for us all. Open our hearts and our minds. Make us an empty vessel to allow in the awareness of the one mind. Illuminate our being. May we bring this shining light to all we come in contact with. I thank you for your time, and I hope you too can find time to retreat within, to cultivate your practice. Thank you.